Now, you wrote The Show Must Go On
Yes.
because you thought at the time that you were going to succumb to AIDS. Is that
Yes.
right?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Um, in 1991, which was the year that Innuendo came out, things weren't looking good. Um, I really thought that was going to be our last album, really. But and I told this to Brian, Roger, and Deaky when I was diagnosed. I didn't want for it to get in the way of things, and I wanted to carry on. And yes, I wrote that I wrote that song to express that.
Now, how bad was bad? Or, are we talking knocking on heaven's door or?
Oh yes, yes, absolutely. We were recording. It was Mother Love, and there is a point where I was just too weak. I had to go to bed and rest. And Brian actually ended up singing the last verse.
Wow.
On the record. So yes, it was serious.
Yeah.
And then fortunately I lasted into 1992, and they had come up with just the right cocktail and saved my life, really. And over the next few years, I slowly came back to life.
Now, do you think that if you had succumbed to AIDS, do you think that Roger, John, and Brian would have continued with a different singer? Do you think they would have broken up? What do you think they would have done?
I don't know. The show must go on. For me, it applied to them too. If I had died from AIDS, I would hope that they would continue on with a new singer. I'm only 1/4 part of this band. Roger, Brian, and Deaky, they bring their own flavor, their own part. Yes, I would have wanted them to continue, but I also would understand if they couldn't. We've been together for so long.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah.
Here we are, 30 years later, a little over 30 years later, and you guys actually headlined Brighton Pride in the UK. And for my American listeners, Brighton in the UK is sort of like the San Francisco of the UK. It's a bit of the gay capital. And how was that like for you?
Oh.
Because you used to be a bit private about that part of your life.
Yes. Well, there was unfortunately a lot of people who had to be sort of secretive about that. And I'm glad that those days are behind me. But yes, it was tremendous. It was a good feeling. Going from growing up basically my whole life, and trying to keep that part of my life a secret, and downplaying it and so forth. And then here we are, and it's 2023, and I'm on stage at Pride. Queen is headlining Pride, so and it was wonderful. And looking out, and you see men kissing men and women kissing women and people fucking and so forth. It was lovely to see.
Now let me ask you, the new album is coming out, and what's the date that it comes out?
February 6th, 2024 is when the album drops, as they say now.
And the album is called Revolutionary Reign, spelled like a reigning queen. And I've heard people discussing where that title comes from or the meaning behind it. What is
Uh,
the actual story behind that name?
uh, yes, it's quite humorous to me that people are debating what it means. Um, the truth is that we had most of the songs written, um, and we were discussing what we wanted to call the album, and just in talking, the topic of AI came up. This whole, AI generating whatever, and I think it was Brian that just sort of half-jokingly said, maybe we can have AI come up with the next album name, and we kind of looked around at each other and went, fuck it. So we typed it in and came back Revolutionary Rain. And it gave us sort of a bullshit explanation about the theme of the album of social, talking about social issues and so forth and so on. And it's ridiculous. But anyways, we just sort of said, let's just go with that. Simple as that. I think it's funny that people are looking too far into it, really.